Hello everyone and welcome to All Things Watched. In this video we are going to talk about the brand new movie Napoleon. Now Napoleon mainly starred Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby, who portrayed the characters or historians of Napoleon Bonaparte, I believe is how you pronounce his name, and Josephine Bonaparte, who of course was Napoleon's wife. Now this movie was a very long movie, running in at I believe it was 2 hours and 28 minutes without not including the credits, I believe it is. I think that's what it comes into, roughly about 2 hours and 28 minutes. And it was, and honestly, there were times when I felt the movie really being, you could really feel the length of the movie overall. Now, I do think that Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby both did a phenomenal, absolutely exceptional job with their roles. I really don't think that anyone could have done those roles better than what those two did. I think that they did such a great job that neither one of them really shines over the other. In fact, I would say that probably one of my biggest complaints about this movie is that Vanessa Kirby probably didn't get as much time as I would have hoped for. I would have loved to see her have a little bit more, a little bit more to do with the movie than what she did. But don't get me wrong, she still did a phenomenal job with the little bit that she got. Essentially this movie is about Napoleon, but it's just, I feel like Vanessa Kirby did such a great job that I just really wish there was more of her. And I loved her chemistry playing off of Joaquin Phoenix, who also did an absolute phenomenal job, and no doubts in my mind they both give just top tier performances here, and really they could both win awards for their performances here. Now, one thing that I do think that this movie did a really good job with was, of course, the battles. I will say that the battles and the battlegrounds and the special effects combined with the practical effects, this movie looks absolutely stunning. It's very breathtaking, and I don't really think that there's anything that they could have done to make the movie look better visually. I think the CGI and the special effects and the practical effects does such a great job at, the editing does such a great job at combining them all, that there were times when you're looking at this movie and you forget that it's even a movie. Now, the biggest downfall with this movie, I think, is probably going to be the length. And I do think that the editing as well, at times, are choppy. And I don't mean visually how it was edited, but I mean the story itself. And I actually did not know before watching this movie until after I seen the movie that there's actually another version of this movie which comes in at like 4 hours long or something, which basically adds an additional hour and a half to Napoleon. So which and now that I know that, it makes sense after seeing the movie why I feel like the editing was a little bit choppy, was because you could really tell that there were parts of the movie missing, which was actually the first thing that came to my mind while watching the movie. I just didn't realize that there was an extended version, that there was a 4-hour cut. I just felt like there were times I felt like maybe certain scenes should go on a little longer, and I felt like sometimes you would go from one scene to another, but maybe there was something missing. So you can sometimes feel the editing, not visually, but you can sometimes feel the editing in terms of the story and whatnot and all that stuff. But beyond that, this movie takes place over the course of, I can't even remember exactly how many years it is precisely, but it does the movie does take place over the course of quite a few years, even though it doesn't really feel like it when you're watching the movie. It feels like you're probably only watching like 3, 4, maybe 5 years go by, but I'm pretty sure this movie probably takes the course of like maybe, I don't even know, I can't even guess, but I just read online somewhere that this movie actually takes place over a really large amount of time, even though it only feels like a couple years and whatnot. But like I said, I think the biggest downfall with this movie is going to be the time that it takes for the movie to get to these action sequences, because the action sequences are done really well, but I find that a lot of the action sequences were really short. It's not really until the final battle, like the full last half hour of the movie, is pretty well one big continuous battle. And like I said, it looks really good. And they do such an absolutely amazing job at putting that battle sequence together, that I find that because there be such a big gap in between battles, it sometimes can feel a little long and a little boring. But at the same time, they are trying to develop both Josephine and Napoleon's their persona, so to speak, their characters and whatnot. And I did really like as well. I did really like the relationship that Napoleon had with Josephine as well. Lots of stuff went on there in the movie that I did not know happened necessarily in real life. I didn't realize that Josephine potentially maybe cheated on him at one point very early on in the relationship. I didn't expect them to go ahead with sort of a divorcement and whatnot. Like I said, I know who Napoleon is in the as a historical figure, but I didn't really know that much about his personal life. I only knew about his, glorious military and tactical, just achievements really in the world. He was probably one of the first of his kind to be that good in combat and be more so strategic and tactical. He was a very brilliant man tactically, but in terms of his personal life and whatnot, you could tell that he was, it was almost sort of like a Shakespearean type love. He really loved his wife, and I feel like there are times when Josephine did really love him as well, but I feel like he probably loved her a little bit more than she really cared about him. But at the same time, he was gone all the time, conquering lands, conquering different parts of the world, and out fighting all these huge battles. And I just, maybe there were times when Josephine just felt like, he wasn't around as much as he should have been and whatnot. So I did find the political side of things a little bit boring. I loved the relationship aspect. I loved the character building and their performance on screen and their chemistry on screen and how good they played off of each other, which just goes to show how great of an actor Vanessa and Joaquin really is. So I really loved their dynamic, and I even loved the relationship parts of the things, but I wasn't really overly all that interested in the political side of things. I did like some of it, but I just feel like they gave us way more than what they really needed to. But visually, it was absolutely phenomenal. Performance-wise and cast-wise, it was absolutely phenomenal. And even the relationship between Napoleon and Josephine was absolutely phenomenal. I just wish they cut back a little on the political side, or I wish that they would have given us the full 4 hours right away so that we could see the full story, and maybe then it wouldn't feel so long. I just hope that the cuts that they made were actually beneficial. Like, I hope that if we see the full 4-hour long cut of the movie, I hope it doesn't make it feel worse or even longer. I hope it's actually done really well and edited in a way where it doesn't feel like 4 hours. It only feels like a 2.5-hour movie. But overall, I did really like Napoleon. If I had to put a number on this one, honestly, I'd probably give it like a 65%. I would have went even higher, but like I said, there were times for me, personally, when I found the movie felt really long. And all these things are subjective. Maybe you'll see the movie and love it and think it was, it doesn't feel long. But for me, it did drag on at times. So that's why I'm only giving it a 65%. But if I were to rate it, based on visuals and performances, I mean, this is absolutely, the closest thing to perfection that you could possibly get without being perfect. But I can't just review certain aspects of it. I have to be honest and talk about the project as a whole. And as a whole, I did feel that it dragged on a little bit longer. However, I am going to watch the 4-hour cut once it is, or if it is ever released. So with that being said, folks, that's my review of Napoleon. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've seen it, and if you'd like to tell me why or why not. If you like this video, click that subscribe button, and until the next one, take care.